Your growth and your development is imperative to you reaching the pinnacle in which you're looking to rise to in life. If you're not somebody who is willing to educate themselves, mature themselves, and really take care of themselves in a way to allow yourself to uh, escalate to the next level, then you are going to stay in the same position that you are in now. See, one of the big things we can all understand from the 12 step program, even if what you're facing is not addiction, is that the admission, that you admitting to the fact that you have a problem, is the very first step in being able to resolve that problem. And we find it intrinsic in our lives to where we see, okay, I have a problem in this area. And if you're someone who is a addict for development and constantly wanting to grow and elevate to the next level, it is your obligation, now that you are aware to that problem, that you resolve that problem. If you know you don't have the financial literacy that you really want to be able to achieve the things that you want in life, it's your duty to obtain that financial literacy that you lack. If you're a very self conscious person, or you are very paranoid in your relationship, and you find yourself that you can't trust your partner or trust yourself in a certain manner, and you're able to admit this, this is step one in you resolving that. And you have to ask yourself, well, what is it going to take for me to resolve this problem, this shortcoming, this insignificance, this blow below my standard in which that I'm satisfied with? And there is there's no perfect recipe to our success, because we're all different in our own way. We all have different problems and insignificances and shortcomings, and we all have different goals and different visions onto it. And so, what you would see as successful for yourself, others may not see. So, it's near impossible for me to lay out the correct recipe for you. But tips and guides as far as growing and maturing and developing is something that we all kind of fall under the category of needing. And there's certain steps that we can take. And again, identifying the problem is always step number one. If you identify the problem, it makes it that much easier. You've admitted it to yourself, you've said it out loud, and you're fully conscious and aware of what it is. Whereas it's very difficult to execute a resolution if you've never admitted that. Um, one of the things is we have to be very intimate with ourselves. You have to be very intimate. You have to know every detail about yourself. If you want to grow, if you want to elevate, you need to know where you stand with things. Who am I? What do I do? And who do I do it for? And so there's a really well spoken gentleman who was on one of the TED Talks, one of the TEDx talks. And, he discussed, finding your purpose in life. And to do that, you ask yourself three questions. Who am I? What do I do? And what do I do it for? Who am I? I'm Jay. What do I do? I acquire information on various topics to try to compile them together. And who do I do it for? Myself, my dependents, the people who depend on me, and for the people who I can disperse that knowledge onto. So that not only can I assist my own life, but assist theirs. And that gives me the knowledge and wealth to know what my purpose is and why I'm here. And that's something you have to understand. It's imperative that you understand, where do I stand in life? Who am I? What do I do? And who do I do it for? And really become intimate with yourself. Know every personal detail about yourself, which sounds like something like, oh, well, I already know me. I already know who I am. But do you? Have you really, truly self-evaluated yourself down to the very last little detail, and know exactly who you are? You know all your pros, your cons. You know what you're good at. You know what you're bad at. You know of all the different obligations and standards that you need to meet, anyways, as a given, and then your own standards and obligations that you would like to meet. I have to go to work and I have to pay my bills. But on top of that, I feel it is my duty that I develop a level of passive income beyond that, that allows, should something ever so happen to the work that I do now, that I am insured and I am covered in the future. Um, and that's very difficult for any of us to do. We can pretty much give a general basic description of ourselves, but to truly dig deep within ourselves in the most intrinsic aspects of ourselves and truly find out what it is that makes us into every single brick that makes up the building, and every single brick that has a flaw, and every single brick that's laid improperly or has a chip in it. We really have to narrow down on fixing that brick, and that is what's going to help us elevate in where we want to be in life. It's difficult. It does not happen. It does not happen overnight. This is not going to be something easy. This is not going to be something that you fly through. You are going to see way more flaws and mistakes and failures than you are anything else successful. You're going to see more damaged bricks within yourself than you're going to see whole bricks in the right placement. And that's okay, because once you have evaluated them and seen, hey, this is a problem, then that only gives opportunity for you to execute a strategy to fix that problem. And so, you start tackling your financial literacy, you start tackling your emotional connections to others, your emotional connection to yourself, your peace of mind, your consciousness and inner fulfillment, your dependency and your insurance. And you really put all the things together, the general basics that are going to help guide everything else to fall in line, to really organize those things that really need to be dealt with within your life. And so I challenge you today to become very, very intimate with yourself and really dig deep down within you and find out, what are all the things that I need to learn about me? Good, bad, everything. And what all can I start working on today? Because sometimes we can fix one issue that's going to correct three or four, versus trying to fix those three or four to fix this one. I'm very depressed. I'm very aggressive with my family members. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not eating healthy enough. I'm not exercising. I'm lounging around. I'm bullshitting myself. But then you come to find out, you dig within, you find out, well, a lot of it is financial reasons. A lot of it is because I'm having money problems. So if you go and you tackle your financial situation, then it's a natural thing where you're like, you feel better, you do better, you're up, you're active, you're working out in the yard, you're playing with the kids, you're making more love to the lady, you're dressing better, you're eating better, you're more active, you feel better, you look better, you do better, and essentially you are better. You have elevated and grown and developed in your life. And again, that's because you had to resolve one issue versus in trying to tackle all these others. Because at the end of the day, after all that research, you're going to come to find out that it's this problem that's the root to them. So these four problems, the root to them is the very main issue. And that's just another strategy to help speed you along the way. This is something that can be, and never stop being a student. It's imperative that you never ever stop being a student, that you always continue to develop yourself. Successful people, millionaires, billionaires, entrepreneurs, the people of the arts, they're never satisfied. They are never content, no matter how high of a pinnacle they reach. It's not the pinnacle for them. It's not the top of the mountain. They want to go longer, stronger, harder, better. They want to do more. And said, man, I used to be such a terrible individual. I used to be, a bum and a criminal and just a horrible person with this catorzic mindset, who I took advantage of everybody and I hustled and schemed everybody that I could. And I don't care about you being my friend or my loved one. What can I get from you? And if you ain't going to give it to me, I'll take it. And now I've sat there and developed myself into such a good person. I did a whole 180-degree turn. I'm helping people. I give people jobs. I give give people housing. I pay people's bills. I give motivational speeches and lectures to try to help people and push them forward. I do all these things, and yet still, it's not enough. I have to do even better. I still have many, many flaws. I can name you off 30 of them in a heartbeat, and I have to work on all 30 of those. And by the time I complete those, there'll be 30 more that I'm just not satisfied with. Problems, shortcomings, and things that do not reach the bar that I need them to. So never stop being a student. Never stop working on yourself, and always, always encourage yourself to go harder and do better, and that will truly push you up the ladder to your own maturity, growth, development, your consciousness, and definitely provide you a very, very full and fulfilled lifestyle that you will truly appreciate. Because at the end of the day, we live once. We're only invited to the rodeo one time, and when it's all said and done, we have to look back and say, did I perform? Did I put on the show that I came here to put on? Did I give myself and the people what they wanted and what we needed? And I really hope and pray that you're able to sit back at the end days, at your last moments, and say, I have very, very little regret. I regret very, very little, because I worked my ass off from the time I showed up in that stadium to the time I walked out to make sure that I provided the best show possible, that I did the best damn job that I could, and I really turned into one hell of a fucking athlete because of it. I hope that is inspirational. I hope that's helpful to you all. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and follow for more questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, and add-ons. Please comment them below. And as I begin to produce content onto this channel, you'll start to see it actually be marketed and have more traffic come through, and hopefully more people actually viewing your comments and feedback as well. You all take care. Have a wonderful day.